Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. This is USA Global TV and Radio, and we are global. We have approximately between 25 and 29 live broadcasts each and every week. Can you imagine? It's so exciting. I'm Dr. JACALYN KERBECK, the president, founder, and chief listening officer here at our network. And today's show is the business talk show. The star of our show, joining me each and every week, he's a dear friend, partner, colleague, and mentor. I couldn't do this without him. He's a huge part of USA Global TV and Radio. It's Mr. Al CINI. Let's welcome him to the show. Hello.
Dr. JACALYN, thanks for inviting me to join in today. We have two guests today.
We actually have two guests. It's amazing. I'm not even going to go into how that happened, but that it's fortuitous because 2 times the amount of information, education that we're going to be sharing with our audience.
And two very important subjects too.
Definitely. So before we bring them out, Al, I just want to make you aware of this is our 113th episode of this show. Do you remember when we started way back with 2 cans and a string?
I remember that.
And we were only on the radio and we were a podcast at the time. So we've come a long way and we're about to celebrate our 1-year anniversary. Our launch party is January 15th. And I'm super excited that you're going to bring out the tuxedo again with the bow ties.
I think I'm going to do it again. I've got a couple of new bow ties I'll try out. I'm looking forward to it.
You have a top hat and cane maybe?
It's I can't believe it's 2023, but yes, I'll have everything I need.
Fabulous. I look forward to that. Thank you so much. So for our friends who are watching or listening, this particular show is all about bringing value to the business community. And there are certain things about doing business as an entrepreneur that can be really elusive or evasive. And I know for me, I have 2 businesses. And as I just mentioned, USA Global TV and Radio, we're coming to our 1st year. I've had to have so many hats on, Al. I'm like a juggler with all these hats. Search engine optimization is like, woo, there it is. It's so elusive. It's everybody can do it and nobody can do it. So I would love to hear from you about your experience. You've been an entrepreneur for a long time. And what's that been like, that journey for you?
Well, with the 2 guests that we have scheduled for today, the 2 biggest challenges I faced in my time trying to build businesses are, first of all, getting stuck inside your own head and becoming so much a slave to habit patterns that you don't approach things with the innovation that's needed to really solve them, to really do them right. And we've got Frank Zaccari. We're going to be talking to him about that. He's written a book on it, and getting the word out. How do you educate your customers to find you, and search engine optimization, getting people from their curiosity directed to your website. That's where SEO comes in, and it'll be fun to talk to Brandon about how you do that.
Absolutely. So I'm really excited to welcome Frank. We're going to have Frank come out first, then we'll have Brandon come out, and then we'll have just an open forum with the 4 of us. I love, you know this, Al, I love introducing people and connecting them. You never know where the connections are going to go.
Yeah, that's true.
Without further ado, let's bring out Frank. He's a business advisor, 4-time best-selling author, and he's a speaker. He's available to come to your organization as you come to the year-end budgets. You're looking for a speaker. Frank's your man. Hello, Frank. Welcome.
Hi. Thank you, Dr. JACALYN, and Al. Good to see you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's great having you here. And you know, why don't we start? It's going to be a new year. And I know one of your sweet spots, Frank, is helping business owners find their way out of that rut that they don't even know they're in.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So if I can't think of a better way to kick off a new year than with an exercise facilitated and led by somebody like you. Talk about how I'd book that and what the experience would be like.
Well, the experience, we have a whole set of workshops that we've put together now. I've got the 3 books from a thing called a Business Secrets series, and each of those books is a workshop. And then we now can do those online, or we can do them at the organization's place of business. The key is, that I talk about all the time, is there's a secret to walking on water. And whenever you watch the best of the best, they always make everything look so easy. It's almost as if they're walking on water. And the truth of the matter is they are walking on water because they know where the rocks are. And that's what the whole program is about. The biggest problem that I see when I deal with organizations is not what they know, it's what they don't know. Because what you don't know is what takes your legs out from under you. And that's one of the things we try to go about. I was a high-tech executive and a business owner for over 35 years. And in that period of time, I made a lot of mistakes. And what we tried to do with these books is to put together, here's things that are going to happen. You may not even see them coming, but you need to be aware of them. So I always tell people, what you know is not nearly as important as what you don't know. And the second part of that is what you know is not nearly as important as who you know. Because a big problem that I see with a lot of organizations is you surround yourself with clones. People went to the same school, same club, go to the same church, all that stuff. So they can finish each other's sentences. And at one point, I had an executive tell me, I thought that was a good thing at one point, but now with the diversity and with the way the market is now, it's killing us because we're not growing. We're only people that we're attracting are people who look like us and think like us and talk like us. Okay. So one of the things that we try to get across is surround yourself with people who've been where you want to go. And I'm a mentor. Let me explain that. I'm a mentor with University of California Entrepreneurship Academy. I'm a mentor and a judge. And we deal with these brilliant minds, right? Some of the most brilliant minds in the world. But when we say down, well, who are you going to advise? So they're going to a professor, or they're going to a frat brother, or going to an uncle who ran a gas station once upon a time. So if something comes up and it's new to you, and you look to your advisors, it's certainly new to them. And so then people will say, well, we're smart, we'll figure it out. So they start throwing a bunch of money down rabbit holes, trying to come up with a strategy. And this is money you're never going to get back ever. And this is time you're never going to get back ever. So why are we doing this when we can simply look at people who've been where we want to be and bring them in as your strategic advisors? And this is what I do a great deal of, is be a strategic advisor. Here's where you are now. Where is it you want to go? What are the things you need to be watching for and looking out for? One example, someone brought up to me when COVID started, and they said, oh, come on, Frank, nobody could have seen COVID coming. And I said, well, we didn't know COVID was coming down the road, but we knew a crisis was coming down the road somewhere. Since 2001, we've had probably 14, 15 crises, starting with 9/11 and financial meltdown and all these other things that have occurred. So as a business owner, crisis management becomes standard operating procedure. And you always have to be looking internally as to what are we doing and what could we be doing well, and have people that, again, have been where you want to be, where you want to go, and that can say, hey, this is going well. Here's things we need to be aware of. These are the things you need to watch for. We're seeing a great deal now. The Great Resignation becomes a big deal in the press, and people are leaving. And it's so hard to hire people and get quality people, and then to have them, train them, and then have them leave is devastating. So what is it that we need to do to create an environment? This is one of the things that we talk about in these workshops. And a lot of it is, what are you looking for, and how are you going about looking for it? And the old model is, well, here's my job description, and here's all the things the individual needs to be able to do, and then we put it through a resume screener, etc. And one of the things that I've said to people is, look, wouldn't it be, you can teach them all the stuff about the job when they're here, correct? And they'll say, yeah, but it'd be better if they knew it. And I said, wouldn't it be better if we were looking for character traits? Wouldn't it be better if we were looking for people with integrity and with grit and determination, and the grinders, the ones that everything didn't come easy to, and the ones who had to work and put in that extra energy and effort, because those are the ones that are going to stay with you. And that's part of what we try to instill through these workshops and seminars and talks that we give, is it's you, the leader, have to make the adjustment. You, the leader, have to say, hey, because in the old model, because it was content driven, I know more than you, therefore I'm more important, I make more money, and I have a higher paying job, right? Well, your content isn't going to really matter in 18 months to 2 years, because it's going to be a whole new series of content. And new people are coming in, and they already know that. So your focus is you have to become more of a facilitator. someone who's interacting with the people and putting the right pieces in the right place so that these individuals can thrive in your organization. And if you're the smartest person in the room, I learned this when I was in the military a long time ago. If you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room.
I think there's a lot of value in that. And, I remember, if getting people out of their minds, out of their own heads and into the real world, it sounds to me like that's what you do with these workshops.
Exactly.
So your job when this is all over is to make sure that everybody's thinking differently. Do I have that right?
Exactly. There's standard operating, the words that drive me absolutely crazy. One of them is best practice.
Mm-hmm.
Best practice is a point in time. Best practice is not in stone. It's not forever. And what we should be looking for is the next practice. And people look at me and go, well, what are you talking about? Okay. History is littered with people who followed best practice all the way to extinction. Okay. In the old telephone days, Western Electric, only place you could get a phone was from Western Electric. And you couldn't buy it. You had to rent it forever. Right. And you had a choice of color. And the choice was black. And you had a choice of style. Put it on the wall, put it on a desk. That's it. Maximum manufacturing efficiency. Absolutely. Industry deregulates. People don't want a black phone. They want a Mickey Mouse phone. They want a red phone. They want a Princess phone. Western Electric stay with their best practice. They don't exist. Other companies, Blockbuster. Blockbuster dominated the world. Blockbuster was approached by Netflix. Netflix said, hey, let us do the mailing for you. And Blockbuster, get out. We own this market. Well, Blockbuster's gone. We know what happened to Netflix.
Sure.
Okay. The best one, the one that drives me nuts is I grew up in Western New York, not far from Rochester. So we had Eastman Kodak. They were it. All right. They dominated film. They dominated camera. They dominated everything. 1975, I believe was the year, or 1976, one of the two. Kodak engineer develops the digital camera. We didn't even know what digital was in 1975. He creates the camera, brings it to Kodak management. Kodak management says, oh, that's nice, but, we do film. He mentions, hey, this is what people are going to buy in the future. This is going to be the future. And the Kodak executives basically said, people will buy what Kodak tells them to buy. So this following your established best practice is something that can be detrimental because it always has to be reviewed. And the companies that thrive and succeed and really do well are always saying, what if? I see what you're doing. I see your best practice, but what if we did this instead? What if we made this little adjustment? Okay. Apple, Netflix, Google, LinkedIn. And they weren't first in their industry. Starbucks, they weren't the first in their industry. Maybe they don't even have technically the best product, but they made that adjustment and said, this is what the market needs, and this is where we need to go to get out ahead of the curve. That's what we try to get across to people. What you're doing and what got you here is not going to get you to where you ultimately want to be. That makes sense?
Yeah. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. Go ahead, Dr. JACALYN. I think he's speaking to, you're a disruptor. That's your natural state of affairs, Dr. JACALYN. You disrupt things. What we're really doing working with Frank is learning how to become disruptors so that we can disrupt ourselves before we're disrupted by somebody else. That disruption being something that's going to knock us out of business altogether. It just seems very logical to me.
Yeah, to me as well. And Frank, I loved what you said about what's the next thing, as opposed to, as business owners, I've said this before, Al, we have our heads so far buried like an ostrich instead of being that eagle flying over and seeing, where are we looking? Where are we going? And that's what I pride myself on, but it's not easy. And you have to actually reach out to other people. Like Mr. Al CINI, he's been a great mentor to me because he is where I want to go. So that's what you want. You want people who are there who can say, hey, this was what I experienced along the way. Exactly.
When I was asked to join the University of California Entrepreneurship Academy, right, the 10 major research universities in California, and one of the professors contacted me and he said, Frank, we need some help. Would you consider this? And he told me, this was in 2019, we have 19,224 patents and licenses. And I said, what do you need me for? You got 19,000. And he said, 60+% of our revenue comes from 5. And I said, 5%, right? And he goes, no, 5. 5 total patents generate 60 to 65% of our revenue. And I said, well, that's not good. And he said, well, okay, well, you're the biggest research universities in the world. Why? Why is that the case? And they came up with 5 reasons, right? And every time I give a talk, I just say, who can tell me what the number one reason was? The number one reason. And people yell things out. The number one reason was no market need. Okay? No market need is a nice way to say you didn't pass the who cares test. Great science, great technology, great whatever. Nobody cares. It doesn't solve a business problem. They had other ones, not the right time, wrong team. The wrong team was, I got a kick out of that one too. I said the wrong team, again, you're back to these little clones, professors who are brilliant minds, but have they scaled the business? Have they gone through these things as a business owner or as an executive? Probably not. Your frat brother, smart guy, but has he been through that? Again, probably not. You're not surrounding yourself with people who can get you where you want to go to. So they had 5 reasons. And I get to the end of it and I said, well, let's add a 6th reason. And I was in the military. So before you insult somebody, you always have to say, with all due respect. So I said, with all due respect, ladies and gentlemen, let's put a 6th reason is they don't know what they don't know. And one of the professors said, come on, Frank, how do you know what you don't know? And so if you're going down a path and you're trying to do something and you're not sure what direction to take, and you turn to your advisors and they don't know anything, that's what you don't know. That's why you have to get people like Al surrounding you who've been there, who can say, here's how you can avoid this. Here's what are the things you have to consider. These are the things that we have to put on the table and be aware of going forward. Then we had another professor said, Frank, these are startups. They can't afford you. We said, you don't have to hire me or someone like me. You bring us in as an advisor. You bring us in as a consultant. We come in and we fix a particular issue where we address a certain project, and then we can go away. But if we needed to come back, it's not a complete ramp up again.
Sure. Right.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to stop right there. Frank, thank you so much for sharing what you shared. We're going to bring Brandon out. We're going to hear from him. Then we're going to bring you back with Brandon. How does that sound?
Sounds wonderful. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. This is so exciting. All right. We'll see you in a minute, Frank. Brandon is talking. He's going to talk with us about a subject that is so near and dear to me because I think I've paid 5 people so far for search engine optimization. It's like the magician who shows up with the wand and pulls the rabbit out of the hat. And then as soon as they think they have it figured out, they don't have it figured out. So Brandon Leibowitz is a search engine optimization specialist. He's a speaker and he's an author. Let's welcome him to the program. Great. Hello,
Brandon.
Thanks for having me on.
Good. Hi, Brandon. Thanks so much for being here. What did you think about what I just said about sort of like search engine optimization is something that I don't know. Does it really exist or is it here and then it changes? As soon as you figure it out, they change the algorithms. Tell us a little bit about search engine optimization and then we'll get into your background.
Yeah, no, unfortunately, Google changes their algorithm every single day. So we're not really trying to figure out Google. We're just trying to figure out who's on that first page of Google. What have they done to get there? How much SEO have they done? Because I can see everything you're doing. You could see everything I'm doing if we look in the right places. But yeah, unfortunately, Google does make it tricky. They don't want you to figure out how Google works because if you did, we'd all be trillionaires. We'd all figure out like how to rank websites instantaneously. But really, we just want to figure out what's the competition doing and how can we do a better job of it.
Right. Yeah, you know, Brandon, while I was listening to Frank, I was thinking about what you do for a living. And also last night I was watching a program on the Curiosity stream about the page ranking algorithm that Google started their business with. That algorithm for making sure that what you really want to know shows up in the first page of your search results, not miles down the page. And which means if somebody says, I'm looking for Dr. JACALYN KERBECK, I would expect Dr. JACALYN KERBECK to show up at the top of the list because that's a pretty specific search. But where Dr. JACALYN really wants to appear is, I'm looking for something great to watch on streaming video. Dr. JACALYN wants to be the person that shows up on the first page of those search results. that's what you do, isn't it?
Yep. So the first one would be your name or her name, which would be a branded search. And hopefully you show up for that name, unless you have a really common name or a name that someone else has that's a celebrity. But like for myself, Brandon Leibowitz, it's pretty easy to dominate the results. There's not many of me. There's maybe like 3 or 4, or maybe a handful. But if your name is like John Smith, or you happen to be like Tom Cruise, it's gonna be really tough because Google's like, all right, people are searching for Tom Cruise. Are they looking for you, or are they looking for the celebrity? So it really depends on the competitiveness. But ultimately, we want to rank for non-brand keywords, because anyone searching for your brand name, they already know who you are. They've already found you, or they already know that you exist. You want to show up for non-branded keywords. So those ones are going to be the tougher ones, where there's going to be a lot more competition, but those are going to get you new eyeballs on your content and hopefully getting to your website and getting into that conversion funnel.
That's what everybody wants. That's exactly.
Yeah, that's definitely. Brandon, I just want to share a couple things around that. So for me, I have USA Global TV and Radio, but I also have Dr. JACALYN, where I teach people how to listen at an elevated level. My website's drjacalyn.com. So when I want someone to be able to find me when they put in elevated listening or effective communication or anything to do with the power of listening, that's what I teach. And when you put in those keywords, I don't come up. I'm like, hello, am I there? Oh, I'm on the 3rd or 4th page. So there's that. And then there's YouTube, and there's all these different search engines. And so it seems like without a professional, it's impossible to get yourself ranked at the top. So I'd love to have you comment on that. And then the second thing is, if you think about being a coach, which I'm a coach to teach people how to listen in my other business, Tony Robbins is a coach. How am I ever going to get past or up to Tony Robbins? What are your thoughts on those 2 comments?
Well, yeah, it's all about finding the right keywords. And if you're just trying to rank for like coaching, online coaching, those are going to be really broad and hyper competitive keywords, because what really matters is we're not trying to beat Google. We're just trying to beat those 10 websites on that first page of Google. So if it's dominated by big corporations and people that have been around for years, and you're just a brand new website or a small, medium-sized company, it might be a little tough. You might want to rethink the keywords that you're trying to optimize or rank for, and go after what are called long tail keywords that are 2 or more words. The longer the keyword, the less people that use it, but the more intent behind it. Someone just searching for like coaching, there's no intent behind that. It could mean a ton of different things, like coaching for sports, for online, for business, but it doesn't mean they know what they're looking for. Someone searching for online coaching for my business, or online coaching to grow my business, that's a little bit more specific. Less people are going to be using it. And that also has the intent that these are small business owners. They're looking to grow their online business. They know what they're looking for. They're looking for coaching. So it's really just trying to figure out what the keywords that you want to optimize for, and doing the keyword research using different tools like the Google Keyword Planner, which is a free tool from Google that will show you how many people actually search for that keyword every single month. So once you do think of a keyword or find a keyword that you want to incorporate into your website, you can double check to make sure people actually search for it using the Keyword Planner. But the best way to go about keyword research is really just kind of look at what the competition is doing. Go to Google, search for your keywords, see who's on that first page of Google, and look at that blue clickable link. That blue clickable link is called the SEO title tag. And that's where everyone is putting their keywords. And you could just quickly see who's on that first page of Google. They've done something right if they're on that first page of Google. Google's rewarding them. And you can look at that blue clickable link for ideas of synonyms, plurals, industry slang term, or words that you might not have ever thought of. And then you can incorporate them into your website. But keyword research really helps out with all that.
Thanks, Brandon. Just a couple follow-up questions about that. So once you figure it out, how long will your website stay on the first page? Is it fleeting? It's there for 15 minutes. There it is. There it's gone. Is it there for a month? How does that work?
That one depends on the competition. So the more competitive those keywords are, the more those websites are going to be fighting to keep that top spot, because there's only 10 spots on that first page of Google. So once you get to that first page, you push someone off that first page of Google, they're not going to be happy about that. And they're going to look at everything you've done. They're going to look at all the keywords, the pages, they're going to look at the backlinks and try to do a better job of building more quality backlinks and doing a better job of their SEO to outrank you. But if there's no competition, then you don't really have to worry about it. You're going to kind of stay up there for the most part. But if it is competitive, then you have to be aware that your competitors are going to be looking at everything that you've done.
Wow. There's so much to it, Al.
There's a lot to it, but it's really, that's why you need somebody like Brandon. I mean, it's easy to read a book or read an article about how you hack keywords into a website and hope for the best, but there's so much more to it than just that. And you have to crawl into the head of your perfect prospect to know what kinds of questions they're going to be asking that you want to be the answer to. And I got to figure that's a big part of working with Brandon.
Yep. It is really important just to understand the user and try to figure out what is it that they're looking for, what service or product do they have that will help fulfill their needs or whatever issue that they're having, because ultimately you're trying to solve a problem that people have, and hopefully you have the best solution, or you have a solution that will work and help them out. And that's where you just got to kind of take a step back, put yourself in the user's point of view. If you're looking for your product or service, what would you want to see on the website? What keywords would you be searching for on Google, or where would you be? Would you be on Google? Are you going to be on social media? Would they be on Yelp? Or maybe they're going to be on some other platform? But you got to really understand who your audience is. That's always the number one starting point, is just trying to figure out who they are, where they're going to be, and how do I get in front of them at the right moment, at the right time when they're searching.
So this is really more of a marketing function than an IT function, isn't it, Brandon?
Yep, definitely more marketing. And nowadays, after doing this for so long, realize like getting traffic to your website, doing SEO gets you traffic to your website, but that doesn't mean anything. Traffic is just traffic. And half the people that come to your website are probably going to leave immediately just because of a bunch of different reasons. Maybe your website loads slowly. They didn't find what they're looking for. They were on their phone. Somebody called them. They got distracted. But you got to keep yourself top of mind. And that's where it's not just getting you traffic, but then optimizing your website for conversions, then trying to get people into your email list, trying to follow up with them using remarketing ads. So anyone that's been to your website and do a specific action, you can follow them around with those banner ads, or follow them around on YouTube or social media, and keep yourself top of mind, because multiple touch points helps build trust to people. Because with SEO, we're trying to build trust from Google to your website. But then once people get to your website, now we got to build trust to people, letting them know that you are reliable, trustworthy, knowledgeable, and not going to just scam them.
Really important.
Brandon, if someone comes to you to hire you and they say, okay, I have X budget and I really want as many people to know about my website. They don't know who their audience is, but they know they've got to get out there and start marketing. And of course, this doesn't apply to me or Al, just saying for anyone out there this applies to. What would you direct them in terms of take the money and put it towards a Google SEO search, or if they're on social media, put it there? What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, it's really not a one size fits all. I'd have to look at each website on a case-by-case basis and try to figure out what's going on. Usually Google is going to be the best because people search on Google. They're looking, they're actively searching, versus social media. It's more of, if you're running ads, kind of interrupting people, hoping they're interested in your product or service, but doesn't necessarily mean they're looking or searching at that moment. They might want it in the past or in the future, but doesn't mean they want it now. But it just depends. So like if you're a doctor or a dentist or a lawyer, something like that, people are probably going to find you on Google. Like for myself too, I'm an SEO company. Not many people are going to go on Instagram or TikTok or Facebook looking for an SEO company. Some people might, but most people are probably going to go on Google or Yelp, find me there, and then check me out with my social proof on Facebook, Instagram, all these platforms to make sure I'm a real business. I have reviews, I have status updates, they can interact and engage with me. But if you're selling like a product and maybe you have like a brand new invention and nobody's searching for it, then Google's not going to work. If people aren't searching for it, then we have to kind of drive that awareness. And that's where doing social media might come into play, where that's where you could kind of showcase a new product or service that people aren't searching for and build that hype. And then eventually if people start searching for it, then we could start optimizing it on Google. But if nobody's searching for those keywords, it's not going to do any good on Google.
I never thought about that. Interesting. So you are also an author and you're a speaker. So when people hire you to speak, what are the areas of expertise that you have and you focus on?
I primarily focus on SEO, search engine optimization, but could also talk on social media and running paid ads, and also trying to conversion optimization, conversion rate optimization, which is a big part of getting that traffic to convert, because getting traffic to your website is just half the battle. How do you get people to actually sign up, call you, email you, make that purchase, whatever that conversion goal is? That's also a really important aspect of the marketing. So trying to help out holistically with the whole marketing funnel and getting that traffic and getting that traffic to convert.
It's important.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think that service is something every single entrepreneur needs. One lesson that I learned the hard way is about the upper fold. And I think that's the terminology. But if you were to have a paper and you would look at the top part of it, that's the part that people go to your website. And if they don't see anything there, they're not going to convert to anything else. And so I made the mistake initially of just having like a picture. Yeah, that's boring. There's information there. Bye. See you later. So what are your thoughts? What expertise can you share with our audience about that?
Yeah, no, definitely. That is so very important. And not many people think about above the fold and below the fold. So whatever you see on your screen, that's above the fold. Once you start scrolling down, that's below the fold. I believe it's about 70% of people never scroll down on a website. Seems high, but you got to think, like, how often do you scroll down? Most people, they're just getting to a brand new website. If they don't see what they're looking for right away, they're gonna hit that back button. And there's 10 other websites on that first page of Google with ads and all these other options. So you gotta make sure that you have your message, convey it right there above the fold, have all the pertinent information at the top. So have like a value proposition, letting people know what's in it for me. What am I going to get out of using your product or service? So it's kind of like a slogan or a tagline, and each page should have a unique one because each page is targeting a different set of audiences. They're similar, but they have different needs. Then you should also have like maybe like some bullet points or a video, something where it's easy to digest, not just like a bunch of text, because people don't want to read. People's attention spans are really short nowadays. And then a call to action has to be up there. If you're an e-commerce business, you have to have that add to cart or buy now above the fold. If you have to have people scrolling down, you already lost over half your traffic. And if you're like a service-based business, have your phone number or an email or a phone or a form or whatever that conversion goal is that you want people to do, but make sure it's above the fold, because that's where you're going to really get eyeballs on it. Once people start scrolling, or if you want people to start scrolling or even swiping on mobile, it's not likely to happen, unfortunately. People just want that instantaneous thing. They want to see it right there. So less is better, simpler is better. Like you're saying, like having a big hero image seems like a good idea, but then you're like, wait, what does this convey? Does it even say anything about my messaging? Like I see like people that have images that don't even relate to their product or service, and they just have like a big image there. And I'm just like, this, it's going to confuse people. They're not going to know what this page is about, what this website's about. They're going to get confused and think it's something else when it's really about this. Like I have one client that's doing clothing, and they're selling jackets, and they're taking pictures of like full body with people wearing sunglasses, and they don't even mention that they're selling jackets. So it looks like they might be doing like modeling, or they might be selling these sunglasses or something else. It kind of confuses you, even though to us it's kind of obvious because we own this website. We're the business owner. We know where to go. But for someone that's never seen your website, a fresh set of eyeballs, they're probably going to get lost and not understand what it's really about.
No. Wow. You know, that is, sometimes you get so wrapped up in what you think looks pretty that you completely forget the reason why you're doing it, which is to attract clients to your business. That's why this is a marketing function and not an IT function, because I think an awful lot of small companies turn this over to the guy who manages their website. The guy who manages their website is typically a techie. And what do techies know about this? The answer is nothing. You really need to call Brandon and get him involved.
Yeah. You need to have the market, like myself, go in, and sometimes you have to have the techie go in and make some technical changes to the coding. That way Google could better read all that coding, but you got to tell them what's going on. Here's like the technical SEO side of things. But as long as you know like basic HTML for the most part, that will get you what needs to be done for SEO, because you don't need to really know too much coding. It's more like you're saying, like the marketing side of things, getting Google to see you and trust you. And it's really about building trust. I mean, that's the biggest part, is building trust from the search engines and building trust from people.
Big deal. Dr. JACALYN is now, you're muted, but there you go.
Yeah. Sorry, we have a hurricane coming here, so there was just a message coming in that I had to hear. So let's bring Frank back to the program and have Frank, Brandon, and the two of us have a little chat. Frank, welcome.
Thank you. Welcome, Brandon. That was amazing. It's wonderful. One of the things that when I wrote these books and they became bestsellers, people came to me and said, "Hey, will you help us market and promote our book?" And it's the same thing that Brandon's just talking about. Is I look at it and they say, "Well, what category is the book in?" Well, it's in healthcare. Okay, well, so are 10 million other books. So you need to fine tune it. How do you stand out? What makes you different? What makes anybody want to care? And guys like Brandon are invaluable, absolutely invaluable. And I made the same mistake you did, Dr. Jack. I get a techie guy here, fix this, and why am I not getting any traffic? What the code's good, but it's not attracting anything.
Yeah, well, Brandon, I think you can really help me out a lot, as we're going to be getting off of social media and we're going to be live streaming from our website. So in order to do that, people are going to have to be able to find us. So if they're going to be going to Google, wherever they're going, but the social media platforms have so many rules, and just as you get used to it, it's like, oh, you got flagged for this, and this person said that. Like, no, bye, in January, bye. So, and I'm sure there's other people here as well that are going through something similar. So, Al, what were you going to say?
Well, I was going to say that if you're working with somebody like Brandon, or for that matter, somebody like Frank. When you're trying to make a change, which is what we're talking about, customers trying to do here, either in your website because you're trying to attract new customers to what you do and trying to make yourself look different and appealing, or if you're trying to get your people to think differently about the way they do their work, you can't just imagine that somehow Brandon comes in or Frank comes in, does a couple of magic tricks and then leaves, never to return. Once you trigger a process like that, you really need to sustain it, which means you need to budget quarterly at a minimum, maybe even more often in the beginning, meetings with somebody like Brandon and Frank to make sure that you're staying on track. That you don't necessarily hit the target the first time you fire the arrow. You're going to continue to need help with that. And I think a lot of small businesses figure that what you guys do is a one and done, and that's just not true.
Right.
That's absolutely true, Al. It goes when I was in big corporate sector, they would send you away for training for a week, and was training by fire hose. And then you were expected to know everything, and you went back to the same environment that you were in before. So the training isn't going to do anything because there's no place to implement it. So it's a constant, small, chewable thing. You do this bite-sized approach. Let's do it. Let's come back. Let's reinforce it. That's how people learn. That's how a meaningful change occurs. Because we've all gone to conferences, right? And you get the bag, and you walk around the floor, and you come back to your office and you throw the bag in the corner, and you don't ever look at it again until next year, and you dump all the stuff out, and then you go to the next conference. That's what corporate training has been, and that's what a lot of the executive level people my age, say. Well, that's how it was done. That's how I did it. Well, it doesn't matter how you did it. It matters what's going to work now. It's going back to that best practice. It doesn't matter. The young people think and act this way, as Brandon was saying. This is what they know how to use. You have to adapt.
Yeah. So
I mean,
true.
Brandon, I'm sure, has the same experience. It's you can't, if you're a baseball manager, you don't just bring the batting coach in during spring training to teach one session and then leave. I mean, you're going to be hitting the ball all year. So you're going to need that role filled all year if you really want to win games.
Good analogy, Al.
Yeah, it's sports too, which is not my forte, let me tell you. But every now and then, that was a single. It wasn't even a double. That was a single, as analogies go.
Yeah, there is no constant. There's only change with digital marketing, especially too, like you're saying, with like social media changing and constantly updating and changing the rules and regulations, and social media adding buttons, removing things, taking features away, adding new features, and Google changing every single day. I mean, it's always keeps you on top of your toes and makes you realize like what you read online is kind of outdated sometimes. I mean, it might be accurate, but you never know. And you just gotta take everything with a grain of salt until you try it out, test it, and implement it. Because a lot of people just read or listen, but they don't take action. And that's the biggest thing, is just got to take that action and try it out, see if it works. And if it works, great. If it doesn't work, then maybe you did it wrong, or it doesn't work anymore, because it changes all the time. It's just constantly changing.
So when we get to the point where you tell people that they need to reach out to you, it's to put you on their team and keep you on their team, not just to hire you to do some magic and then leave. And, you know, if they do that, then they'll get results from their website. They'll get results from their people. I think people need to understand that you make a commitment to a change like this, and you got to keep investing in it.
Yeah, I'd like to just add in on that, Al. So I hired a channel manager for a YouTube channel, and this is an every single day thing. It's interesting. And what we found was if we have 29 shows a week and he does work on, let's say, 5 shows in a day, the results are less than if he works on 1 video a day. But it took us like 3 months to figure that out because the rules are always changing. So the fact is that he's hired on that YouTube channel for as long as we're on YouTube, which, you know, soon that's coming to an end. Bye-bye. But my point is what you said, that you have to have someone like Brandon and Frank on your team full time, because that's what it takes. And business owners are so worried about the money. And I always say this, I really believe this. I don't know where the money's coming from, but it's going to come. It's coming one way or another. It's going to get you.
Cockeyed and misguided to think that a fee here. I mean, to look at it that way as a point transaction and not as an investment in your business is just fundamentally wrong from the get-go. And we're talking, we have the honor of interviewing a couple of guys who belong in your company over the long haul, because it's over the long haul that you ultimately win the game.
Absolutely. And taking action is always cheaper than not taking action. And you can do it in small bites. You know, the term is fail fast. The term that drives me, another term drives me nuts, is pivot. Everybody wants a pivot. It's a course correction is what you're doing. Right? No one knows what a pivot is. So you're starting down this way, but let's adjust the course. That's all.
Right.
You're not throwing everything away. Let's move forward. Let's take what you do well, right, Brandon? Take what you do well and expand upon that, as opposed to we're going to go in this whole new direction.
Yeah, pivot sounds like a dance move. I'm going to pivot. I'm going to.
But you got to be open to it too. Can't be closed-minded, and that's the biggest thing too. If you see something's working and you never thought of it, or this new feature, whatever it may be, but you got to just take it and roll with it sometimes. And it's not always the path that you expect, but whatever way you get there is the road you're going to take.
Right.
Absolutely. Great insights that you both shared today. And of course, Mr. Al CINI. So we have to close up because our next show is coming up, and it's our men's show. You guys should think about going to the website, usaglobaltv.com, and signing up. It's a show called Wild at Heart, a show for men, by men, about men from all over the world, talking about men's issues, because men don't open up apparently as much as women do. So
I hear this
Frank, I'm going to spotlight you and put up your banner. But for people who are not watching and they're listening on a radio station or on a future podcast station, what is the best way to reach you?
Best way is you can go to the website, which is frankzaccari.com. More people send me an email, and that's just frankzaccari@gmail. I made it real simple. Those are the easiest ways.
Okay. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And it's been a pleasure having you here with us. What if they want to purchase your books?
You can purchase the books on Amazon, and you can get them to the website. From the website, if you buy from the website, it's less expensive than Amazon, and we sign them. You get an autographed copy.
Get that signed copy. Thank you very much. And Brandon, how about you? If people want to hire you and work with you, what's the best way for them to get in touch?
Yeah, so for anyone that wants to learn more, I actually create a special gift for them. If they go to my website, SEO Optimizers.com, that's SEO Optimizers.com, so /gift. They can find that there along with my contact information and a bunch of classes I've done over the years. I've thrown up there for free. So if they want to see step-by-step how to do SEO or any of the topics we talk about, I have that all up there as well.
Perfect.
Thank you so much. And Mr. Al CINI, how can people get in touch with you? And by the way, gentlemen, Mr. CINI is also a television show host at another channel, RVN television. So I'm sure he'd be happy to have you on that platform as well.
It'd be
Al?
great. That's well, we'll start. And for my new best friends forever, Frank and Brandon, you can reach me at al.cini@getbcat.com. So send me an email and we'll get you booked on one of those RVN TV programs that we talked about. And Dr. JACALYN, I can't tell you, you found two terrific resources today that every small business owner I know needs to get to know personally because they need their help.
So true, Al. And before I take you off spotlight, how can people reach out to you about Profit and what is it?
Profit is a team building exercise. It's innovative and unique. It's very science based. It's about rewiring your brain to reconnect you with the purpose of your team, whatever your team might do. We don't care whether you're a police department or a private school. We've done them all, and we've had lots of experience doing it. Profit is everything we've learned over the last 10 years about connecting people with purpose, compressed into a half-day, 4-hour experience that we can conduct either on site or via Zoom for your people.
All right. Thank you so much, Al. I appreciate it. And thank you, gentlemen, for being here. Please feel free to book in on one of our other shows and also come join us for our first year anniversary celebration, January 15th. And for everyone else, please stay tuned for the men's show, which is moderated and led by Mr. Roland Friedel, who is rolling through Europe in his mobile home. He lives a mobile life. And I'm telling you what, it's pretty cool what he's doing. He's always in a different place. I know. He's amazing. He said, I'm out of this house. I'm sick of the payments. I'm getting in this mobile home, which is not just a regular mobile home, by the way. Let me just tell you. And he's traveling all through Europe, meeting people all over. It's great. So stay tuned.
Good.
That's coming up right now. And thanks again, gentlemen. I appreciate you being here. And thanks, everybody. Bye for now.
Thanks, Brenda. Thank you.
Bye.